All right, I found you guys. Man, that was tough. That was like playing a game in itself, trying to click on you guys to get you added up here as everybody's joining the room. So, welcome everybody to Xbox Talks number 36. Boy, I can't believe that every time we reach a new number, I'm just like, man, I can't believe that we have so many episodes under the belt already. So, I'm joined tonight by Anthony and Mikey J. Raymond, and I just wanted to let you guys introduce yourselves real quick. How's it going, Anthony?
Hey, good, thank you, Jay. Good, all good. In the UK, the country's under incredible stress at the moment, but the gaming situation's good.
I mean, when things get stressful in real life, gaming is right where I go, man. When I went through my divorce, like, wow, I won't get too personal, but I was deep into Stardew Valley. Let's say that it was a great escape. So, Mikey,
Absolutely.
we get over there.
Yes, I recently reinstalled
Whoa.
Windows and it was doing some weird stuff, so I didn't hear anybody again coming in. It's 2 weeks in a row.
I was getting a little nervous. I saw you bop in and out. I was like, uh-oh, more gremlins.
Yeah.
So, excellent. So, yeah, we're going to roll right into this week's news here. I did want to let everybody know that's joining us about the show. We record these every week where we kind of recap the latest Xbox news of the week, and we'd like to discuss it with you. I see some hands up already, and that's excellent. We'll get you up here if you want to join us. This show is recorded, it's distributed, it's on Spotify and YouTube, and it's come to my attention that we have some listeners who don't really, they don't know where we're recorded or where this show originates. They're just finding us on Spotify and that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to say thanks for joining us. We record on Reddit, on the Xbox Series X subreddit, where our members join us here and they come up and share their opinions with us. So if you're curious to where these weird voices are coming from, that is where we originate from. So let's see here. Let's go around the horn real quick, and then we're just three hosts tonight, so this probably won't take long. But what have you guys been playing this week? How's your week going? Anthony, you said it's kind of stressful there in the UK, so how are you escaping that? What are you doing to get away?
I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm completely sucked in. It's amazing. It is for me anyway. I've not played Assassin's Creed 4. I love the first games on the 360, but I didn't really play Origins or Odyssey or Valhalla. So I've gone back to Odyssey because it dropped on Game Pass, and I am fully invested. I'm like really liked that. You know, you can't turn it off. You keep just being like, just one more quest, just one more, 5 more minutes. It's like I've got back to that with a game for a long time. So it's good. That's what I've been doing.
That's the best feeling. And when I got that kind of hook
Yeah,
with a game, I'm just like, I'm happy, man. I'm like, yeah, thinking about it at work, you know, that kind of stuff. You're like, I'm gonna get home. And Mikey, what have you been up to, guy?
I've been playing. So I finally finished Kingdom Come after weeks. um, Fantastic game again. I'll say that. I started and completed Slime Rancher.
Yeah, I saw that. How did you get 1,000 G in that so quickly?
Wow, you were on the clock with that game. Well, actually, it was the Games of Gold, so I don't know if you picked it up then, but
I didn't. And I did it on PC. I did it in about 17 hours. Was the time it gave me.
full 1,000? Is that
full 1,000?
Oh man.
It was okay. When after I opened it and started getting achievements, I'm like, is there more to this? And there was a little bit more. But some of the stuff some of the areas you open up were pretty redundant, I felt. Like you go and you have to find something like 850 glitch slime at one point if you want to complete this guy's arc, and it's just kind of tedious. So not to totally hate on the game that everyone was loving last week, I was like, oh wow, I really don't like this, but I completed it.
No, I think that's a fair criticism. So I think part of the charm of Slime Rancher is how it kind of came out of nowhere originally, and it had, you know, it is kind of a relaxing, chill vibe to it, but the gameplay is kind of repetitive, and it's kind of a little bit, you know, like you said, you unlock more areas as you get different equipment, and I think that's a fair criticism. So yeah, good, fair point.
And I tried to go back and also get some of my Hellslinger leaderboard spots, but PC modders have them forever now. They're gone.
That game slowly, I keep seeing it popping up. More and more people are playing it. I think it's going to be a bit of a cult hit, and I hope that it's enough to spawn a sequel, because it's a great concept.
It was great. I don't think I said this last week, but I was the number one on 4 of the levels, and top
In the
3
world?
for the other 4. So I was
In the world?
in the world on the PC version.
I saw your
Um,
screenshot, but I didn't know if it was just in your region or that was
no,
like
no, that
global.
was for the world, but I found out it was only for PC because Reese from the Xbox One subreddit said he didn't see me on the Xbox leaderboard, so that kind of confirmed that. But I went back this week to look, and there's people with like 100 times my score, and it's just, and I know
Wow.
it's literally impossible to get. So I'm like, well, it was cool before mods and trainers came out.
It has many, many games. It's always it's sad when that happens, man. It breaks my gamer heart. So, but you did it, man. You were up there and you got the screenshots, and making a top 10 or even a top 100 on any video game leaderboard, especially global, is an achievement. I don't care what you're playing. I don't care if you're playing bank shot billiards or it doesn't matter. It's just it's something to be proud of, man.
Yeah, I was very proud. And then I rounded out the week, played some Grounded to get ready for that discussion.
I think that's a great place to lead off today. We were kind of talking a little bit about it in the pre-show, and I'm a person who hasn't played since basically it launched, if you want to call it launch, when it first went into game preview mode and came out to Xbox. And I loved the concepts. I liked what I saw. It was even pretty way back then. Very bare bones when it first came out, but we knew that this is a game in development. That's how they chose to release it, and it's a positive if they actually listen to the feedback they get. And from the accounts I've been hearing, it sounds like they took the feedback into account when they were developing it and making changes. And some of the stuff you're describing was awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your time with Grounded 1.0?
So a little perspective. People might be seeing that it's getting an 83 on Metacritic. I would like to point out that of all survival games, first and third person, that is the second highest reviewed first/third person survival game of all time. Only behind Minecraft. It
Wow.
is tied with The Forest currently, which is an 83% as well on PC, which is a critically acclaimed survival title. Now, it doesn't include things like Don't Starve, but I don't. While they're both survival games, they're entirely different feelings. So I wanted to bring that up about the score it's receiving, because people go 83. Well, that's low. It's like that's actually incredibly high for a survival game, um, and deservedly so. I bring that up because it is honestly one of the most polished survival games that I've played. And I've put over 500 hours in Conan, hundreds of hours in Ark, hundreds of hours of DayZ. And like I told you guys, DayZ is the reason I got into PC gaming. 2012, I believe, rolled around. And I'm like, what the heck is this, DayZ? I can just drop people randomly from across the world. Like, that's so cool. And I go around collecting cans of food and so I could eat. Like, that sounded so cool to me. Now it's kind of repetitive. But when I first built my gaming PC, it took me 4 days to download DayZ. That was my internet speed. So I've been at this for a while. And Grounded is just from top to bottom, it feels very optimized. I was easily hitting 120 frames on my PC. The world is beautiful to walk around. There's a walkout moment from your first little area, and it almost felt like there was ray tracing. Not sure if there is. I don't think there is, but it was just beautiful. The light coming through the grass, and everything's got this cool depth of field effect to it. So if you're looking at something up close, like the house in the background through all the grass and stuff is all blurred out and whatnot. And the game is also very good at telling you where your objective is. So it told me I needed to go check out this electronic thing. I go there, and it's telling me I need to drink water. Well, very early on, it taught me not to drink from a puddle, because I immediately hurt myself. But it told me to drink water, so I did it. But
Well,
as
live and learn.
every other icon, this is where I think it's so cool. Was telling me to like look left or right or way out in the distance. It told me to find clean water. And I honestly struggled with this for about 10 minutes, and I was like, clean water, where? Until I finally looked up. And clean water was being a source from dew droplets on blades of grass. And to get them, I'm like, do I chop this down? Okay, and it just fell down and broke. No, I actually had to climb other blades of grass to get up there just to drink water. And I thought the verticality of the game within the area was it was really cool and neat. Because you usually don't see that. You usually don't see resources being used as a means of verticality in a survival game. So there's just like a lot of little nice things in this. including the puzzle that it opens up with beams of light coming down into this electronic device that I feel like is what's going to make me unshrunk, but I don't know. I've only just started, but already I'm absolutely loving it. Have you guys tried it at all, or?
I haven't played it yet. No, I've downloaded it. I haven't played it.
So I have the potential to play this with my family, and I've been waiting to get everybody together. We have 4 Xboxes and 4 screens, and I am wanting to dive in. We're all brand new to it, except for my very brief playthrough early, so I am really excited. The way you describe it sounds like it's something that's really going to hit a lot of the right notes for me, and I think for my family too. This seems like a really awesome family adventure, like something that is it doesn't come along very often, where you can experience something together, 4 players, 4 screens in the same house, and I can't wait to explore this and figure out the mysteries and check it out. So no, the answer to your question is no, I haven't played it beyond that first part, but I'm really excited to play it, and the more you talk about it, the more excited I get. So go ahead.
And there's also a story mode, which the first intro cutscene is more story than you ever get from any survival game.
Does Dragon Quest Builders 2 count as a survival game?
No.
God damn it. Go ahead.
I've played that. No. Cool game, though.
It is a great game.
But there's just refined mechanics that are very neat. Like when you build a shelter, you harness stuff on your shoulder, bring it over, and it was very reminiscent of the forest. I bring that up again. You're not just carrying logs in your backpack or these blades of grass. You actually have to physically carry them across the world. Like Valheim's another title that came out to Game Pass, and absolutely another fantastic game in the genre that'll score well probably when it's released. But you just load up on stuff. You have a weight counter. There's no real essence of the items that you're picking up and what they mean. Like you shouldn't be able to carry 10-foot blades of grass in your pocket. So you can't.
Right.
You have to carry them. And it's a neat touch, and it feels like a lot of love went into this game compared to a lot of survival titles. I didn't play it early access, so I can't tell you where it went from day 1 to now. But again, it's one of the most polished survival games I've played, and I've played a lot.
I'm glad that I waited now. I purposely waited for the release instead of getting on the early access. And it sounds like it's a good experience to do that.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, and I love Obsidian, so I've been rooting for this, and boy, they are hitting on a lot of cylinders right now. I can't wait to see where things go with them in the future. So excited to try it out. I will dive in, and I'll let you know how that family playthrough goes next week when we record the show. So.
Also, you're allowed to tell me you don't like it. Like I said, I don't like Slime Ranchers.
Yeah, I hope so.
Don't worry.
There's got to be some dissent, but I feel like it's like I said, too many of the right notes for me to not like it. I'm almost assured to like it. I love this concept. I love this type of game. So I'm going to turn it over now. And first of all, I wanted to say, hey, thanks for everybody that's in here listening with us. If you wanted to come up and share your thoughts about the latest news, anything that's happened this week, we were going to talk a little bit about some things that developed today, including Stadia, ended life on that. So we'll touch on that a little bit later. But let's. Yeah, that's right.
Never get
nice.
to use that.
No, that was good timing. So yeah, bad news for them. But let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077 real quick and just kind of acknowledge the continued momentum, the resurgence of a kicked and downtrodden game. A couple milestones this week on Steam, which is where we seem to be getting our player counts because it's the only place where you really can. Cyberpunk passed the all-time peak concurrent player total, which was previously set by The Witcher 3, which is kind of astounding to me. I can't believe it's not a multiplayer game that holds these records, but hey, there you are. Good for them. And
I will say,
please do.
It didn't break the record.
Thank you.
It just broke the total concurrent players that Witcher 3 had. I think the most ever players was it was either between CS:GO or PUBG, and I think it's PUBG.
That makes
just so we know.
Thanks. That headline was a little confusing to me, and something was going off of my radar, and that's why I said that. I'm like, I can't believe it's not something like you mentioned. So, anyways, it did surpass The Witcher 3, which is still noteworthy. Witcher 3 was a beloved game, obviously, one of the top of the last decade, 10 years for sure. We also got confirmation that 20 million copies have been sold of Cyberpunk now at this point, which is pretty good, especially considering how many refunds they had to do at first. It was just,
Yeah,
it was just.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they were.
So I
just
was thinking the same thing. That how many people sent the game back for them to get 20 million sales is incredible.
There have not been too many launches where they have come back and just been like, you know what, if you don't like it, our bad, we'll just send you your money back. So it's safe to say it's recovered, though. We're not going to get any more content beyond this latest DLC that they've released, but I'm glad it's in a better spot. So good for them.
It's a great game. When you're playing it, it's a great. I know I've told you this before, but I'm really into. I'm a big like Blade Runner fan, and I'm like the Ascent. I love the Ascent. That whole vibe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And just playing Cyberpunk, just being in that world it's a great experience for me. I really enjoy playing the game. I know you did it, Mikey, just if we did you clock to get the 1000G again in Cyberpunk, that's a pretty good achievement in itself.
I played it at the wrong time though. I said last week, all these changes would have made it so much cooler. But I'm still looking forward to that DLC because of it. It's definitely a treat. And I played it before it was trendy. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's right. You're like hipster. You're like it's too
right.
cool now. You don't like it anymore. So
I bought it. I got it at launch, and then I held off until the patch to start playing. So I've not finished my playthrough yet. But I've really liked what I've done so far.
Yeah, if you're into that whole scene and that like aesthetic and setting, it's got to be great for you. So enjoy your time with that, and take your time with it. It's not a game you necessarily have to rush through. You can play a little bit here, a little bit there, and progress the story and have a good time with it. So let's see. Let's continue to talk about Slime Rancher. I should have touched on this earlier when you were totally dissing Slime Rancher 1, but it's been confirmed that the sales have been pretty good for Slime Rancher 2. The developer said they hope to hit 100K units sold, and they completely crushed that. That's even with the Game Pass launch. So for you Slime Ranchers out there, for you fans of the game, you're clearly showing your support, and this is going to be a franchise that probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I wanted to get to a big story today, something we've been fortunate enough to kind of been working with the team from Ebb Software and Scorn. We've been sitting on this one. A few of us knew this, and we couldn't share it until today. They moved up the release date for Scorn by a week, and if you think about this, and it's kind of, it makes a lot of sense, and it's kind of like a domino effect, because first we had Gotham Knights that moved from the 24th to the 21st. Scorn was sitting at the 21st, and Gotham Knights moved because of Call of Duty. So Call of Duty moved Gotham Knights, which is going to end up moving Scorn. So all these games are moving the release dates up a little bit at a time, trying to avoid each other so they can get a little bit of the limelight in which is typically busy release season. So end result is we're getting Scorn on the 14th of next month instead of the 21st, which, hey, bring it. I'm ready for these fall games, and that's a great place to start.
It's not often a game gets pushed forward, is it? Pushed up. You hear delays, but you very rarely hear a game being pushed forward.
Especially in this year, right? You make a good point. Some of our users did comment some examples from the past. I believe Resident Evil 6 was in there. I can't think of any other ones. It's happened before, though. Dodging other big titles so you can have some of the shelf space, and well, I guess it's not shelf space anymore, but some of the limelight is old tactic.
Yeah, just looking at the lineup. So we had Gotham Knights. New Tales from the Borderlands is released in October.
Forgot about that. Yes.
Persona 5. 2 days before that, 3 days before that, A Plague Tale Requiem, which is also coming to Game Pass.
See, I forgot about half these games. It's nuts.
So if you're looking for that story single-player narrative game, A Plague Tale might take up your time. At least now you have 4 days to get hooked on Scorn first before Plague Tale comes out, and then 3 days before Gotham Knights and Persona 5 come out, and New Tales from the Borderlands. It's like, holy crap, I forgot the fall was here with the game releases.
It works out well for them, though, because didn't they confirm that it's like an 8-hour playthrough? So if it launches, if it's 3 days before and you get on it, you'll easily get through that game before Plague Tale drops.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a shorter playthrough. This is a trend we're seeing, and what we're going to talk about that maybe a little bit later too, is that a lot of your AAA games aren't necessarily going for that 100-hour experience anymore. We're starting to get these shorter visions and more cinematic visions for sure. Where you might wrap it up in 10 hours, in 15 hours, instead of having all this grinding and that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how it does. I'm really excited to see how it does, like how gamers receive it. And we've seen video and images of this game for years, literal years, and it's obviously beautiful. But let's see how we're gonna like it.
Well, that's another question you just brought up. Is Scorn considered a AAA title?
I'm almost scared to weigh in on this because people get very heated about this.
Well, there's nothing wrong with so here's the problem with that though too. Saying it's not AAA shouldn't be a bad thing. It shouldn't be. An 8-hour title it is not a bad thing, especially if it's a AA game. And I'll say Scorn is probably going to be a AA game.
Yeah,
and it's just an 8-hour title. That means all their love and focus was put into the 8 hours. Whereas with Starfield, it's on a much higher metric. That's a AAA with potentially hundreds of hours that need to be crafted and worked around and made sure that are done right. Whereas a smaller studio doing a AA experience, focusing on the 8-hour window, you can still get just as much love out of a game from something like that. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. So just my 2 cents.
No, no, that's a good place to weigh in, and you're absolutely right. And I think the first thing we need to look at when you're talking double, AAA, and that kind of thing is the budget. That's the really basic criteria, right? So we're getting reports that Grand Theft Auto 6's budget might be $2 billion. Okay, billion, which is
2,000 million.
Oh yes.
Well, keep in mind, as of I think like years ago, GTA passed 5 billion, GTA 5 in terms of total revenue. So to put 2 billion into your next game maybe makes sense, but that's a big bet.
That is a gigantic bet, and I think the Lord of the Rings series, even on like Amazon Prime, which they pumped all their money into, doesn't there's not anything that costs $2 billion to make or produce. It's record setting.
Where do you spend $2 billion? I mean, you look at Bungie and the Destiny. You look at the vid docs that they used to release, where they've got entire buildings full of developers, all working together at the same time. I mean, they're not spending billions of dollars on.
There's
Destiny.
So many places. There's licensing. They can get those soundtracks that are a killer. There's the voice acting. These games they're movies and video games. It's almost like doing both. They're producing this great plot and all these characters and all this dialogue, and then you have the development itself. Then you get into the Grand Theft Auto Online and how that might evolve, and you can start seeing where throwing a couple $100 million here and a couple $100 million there might actually start to be kind of a plausible concept. But it's such a gigantic amount of money for one game.
Well, I would also say it's money probably put into some I can't remember if the term is when research and development.
Yeah, R&D.
R&D. Thank you. I'm like, wait, and doesn't begin with an N.
Search and destroy.
Trying to do the acronym in my head. Look at another Rockstar game from a few years back, L.A. Noire. At the time, it was one of the most expensive games developed. And
really?
They created, they created brand new facial technology around it to do all that facial capture stuff. So with a $2 billion budget, I gotta imagine that there's some new gameplay systems that they've done a little R&A on to create and put into this new world that they're creating. And I hope that's what it is, and I hope it's not $2 billion spent on the best font for shark cards, but we'll find out.
It's all shark card research. You got it. Just like, how can we sell more shark cards? I kind of wanted to change gears here and Mikey was saying some pretty interesting stuff in our pre-show about some new Starfield developments, and I'm going to throw this one over to you because you have the knowledge about it. But what's been happening this week? You mentioned something about maybe the soundtrack, boy, I'm failing at the word, but the composer was out sharing some details about how he created the music, and it might lead us to some details about the game that we can infer. So go ahead.
Yeah, the composer was actually about a month ago, but we never brought it up in this show. He was on some really small time YouTube channel, which again, small time is not a bad thing. It's actually a terrific YouTube channel that focuses on music, and they had the composer on there from Starfield. And one of the things that people should probably know about Bethesda games, and Todd Howard has come out and said this, is one of the first things they worked on for Skyrim was the music, and same thing for Starfield, because what that allows them to do is creators, writers, designers, artists use that music as inspiration for the game world they're creating. So they give a composer a task, he creates the music, and then the development team uses that to develop the world around it. So the world is created around the music first. The music isn't created around the world, which is interesting. Um, but it's neat to hear that. So when we look at these words from him, we can take that with uh, more than just maybe a pinch of salt or a grain, because the game's developed with this in mind. His quote was, Starfield is a deep game. It's a philosophical game. It's a game that will consume a lot of you. If you want to play Starfield, it'll consume a lot of your being. I believe that after Starfield, you will be a bit of, I wouldn't say changed person, but it will definitely give you another perspective, maybe a deeper perspective to your whole being. In terms of size, Starfield is a huge game, at least twice as big as the biggest game Bethesda ever did. Really, it's so huge. But it's not only that, the premise of Starfield and the courage to ask questions and to try to answer them is actually standing in the core of Starfield. It's more than just another shooter or another RPG game. Starfield really takes a very courageous step into a realm that is more philosophical. It's not about how it looks, it's about how the gameplay is. Although they're also incredible, but it's not just about that. It's about the story and the ability to write your own story within the story. Starfield really is, and your ability to ask questions, seek their answers, and maybe get them. Um, so I listen to that quote and I try to apply that to Skyrim, Oblivion, or Morrowind, or any of the Fallout games, and you can't. None of those games are philosophical or anything like that. And part of this could be a composer working getting his work up there, boasting about it a little bit more than he should, but taking that as you can, I would say that that's pretty interesting. We're getting a game that, maybe dives more into the human psyche about what it means to be alive and explore the universe and reaching out to other civilizations. I get excited when I hear stuff like that.
Me too. That's just, all I think about is that Fry meme, just like shut up and take my money, like just sold.
I
Done.
mean, it's I'm just going by my past experience with Fallout and Skyrim, as you mentioned, and they've been able to tell compelling stories, but I don't know. I don't know if they're the best at telling a story that's gonna like change my philosophy on life, and it sounds kind of full of grandeur in that. But we need to understand that musicians are the way they look at things are often through a different filter than the rest of us. And I liked what you were saying about how the music is so important and how composing really gives you an idea what the game is about. And I don't think we have to look much farther than Jeremy Soule, who was involved in controversy that I'm not trying to endorse Jeremy Soule or even get into that. But if you're not familiar, he scored Skyrim. And if you think about playing that game and just how the different scenes and the battle music, walking through snow drifted towns, and then just how the music kind of twinkles, and it always kind of fit the scene that you were in. And I feel like composers have a real almost like an extrasensory kind of perception of a game and what it's about through the music they create for it. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm sorry that we missed it when it was first revealed, but it's great to talk about, and definitely gives us some clues about what we might be able to expect from Starfield. So that was a really good bullet point to highlight.
Yeah. And And the other bit of news, well, there's two more. One we'll dive into quickly before I get to this older piece of news. We were told that pre-orders could be coming out.
Yeah.
There was an update to the Steam page where they updated the banner, and some people who like to go through Steam DB database, which is actually wasn't in our linked article, but I was doing some research on this.
Right.
They've been updating tags, updating user tags, which is leading some people to believe that pre-orders could be coming soon. To me, I read this and I looked into all of it. I don't think that's a sign of it. I think it's just them doing their due diligence. The banner change was, highlighting the Xbox sale on Steam for the Xbox games, and they were probably removing, user tags that said stuff like No Man's Sky, and other weird comments, because user tags can have anything and then users vote on them, so it can really say anything. So they're probably doing some cleanup there. I think it was kind of a non-story.
But who cares? Like, I don't understand. I know we're all excited for Starfield, right? But I can pre-order it now. Like, how excited are you that you just want to throw your money at them and that makes you feel better, like, immediately? Like, I cannot wait to throw that money at them for a game that I'm not going to be able to play for 4 or 5 months. Unless there's a pre-order bonus or they get you that way. But I do find it funny that not only was this a news story, that it tracked. People were genuinely excited about this. So to me, that just says that shows you that the hype is out there. Like, people will get excited about anything Starfield, and anytime you can just mention it. You can say Starfield and people show up. Like, yeah, what are you talking about? What are we doing? So I mean, it's obviously super anticipated, and I just thought this was a non-story as well. But the other stuff that you added, I think, is a story, and I was glad to talk about that. Was there something else too?
Oh yeah, there was one other thing.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, an ex-Bethesda developer came out and said that there are other locations than major cities, and I feel like this didn't need to be said. I think it's really dumb that we have to come out here and go, there's gonna be other towns, because when people heard, oh, there's 4 major cities, they're like, that's it, 4 cities for 1,000 planets.
Right.
Call the police. We need to arrest Bethesda for trying to rob us.
People love to freak out, man. They do.
Yeah, and it was like, guys, calm down, please, for the love of everything. Like, just chill. There's gonna be more. There's always some outposts or settlements, and this developer just came out and confirmed that. He said Starfield will have that and more, just like every other Bethesda game that's ever been created. So we have that written in stone now. We're good. There's more than just 4 cities.
Sorry, I always laugh because people freak out about the weirdest things with gaming, especially, and we've talked about weird graphics that they've complained about. I always like to bring out the people that complain that the fruit didn't explode properly in Halo. I guess we all have things that kind of set us off, but just calm down a little bit. You're right. I think it's quite obvious that there's going to be more than 4 cities in Starfield.
If you're listening to this talk now and you want to get involved, just raise your hand and we can hear your opinions.
Yeah, anything we've talked about, anything that you want to talk about, like we'd love to hear new voices, and you guys you're right there in the app, and those that are joining us live, come on up and we'll hear your takes and discuss things with you. So in the meantime, let's move on and talk about another kind of just weird game that I'm not sure anyone wants, but it still seems to be happening. It's Skull and Bones from is this Ubisoft? Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm laughing because I actually didn't know if you were talking about this or Dead Space remake.
Okay. We're gonna get to that too, but the very brief news update on Skull and Bones. It has been delayed. I feel like that we've said the same headline maybe 4 times since we've started this show, and we've only been doing this show for about a year, so I don't know what's going on with that game. They did release a trailer a few months ago that showed what the gameplay was supposed to be about, and they're having issues apparently. So if you were looking forward to that, I haven't seen anyone in the comments that it's just like, yes, that's my game of 2023. Nope. Anyways, if you are that person, you're going to be waiting just a little bit longer. We're looking at March 9th, 2023 for that. I kind of wanted to touch on another one here, and this one's a weird one. And first of all, Electronic Arts, and I've always hoped this company would never come up here because I don't know how to pronounce it, but they're one of my favorites. It's KOEI. Is that KOEI?
Koi?
I
Koi.
think I've always said Koei.
Koei.
Koi?
I like that. They merged with Tecmo, so it's actually Koei Tecmo. But anyways, they're getting together. So I'm a huge fan of the developer Koei. Going back to the Super Nintendo, back to Aerobiz and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Some of the early great strategy games. Beside the point here, they're teaming up with EA to release a competitor to Monster Hunter. This one, they're saying, is a new AAA. They're saying it, not me. So they're putting that pressure on themselves. It's a hunting game, and it's coming February of 2023. So this one is actually coming pretty darn soon. Is there room for this game? Is Monster Hunter just so dominant that this is a weird battle to pick?
I would say no. If it brings a fresh take to the genre, we're hunters like us are needing it. I actually, I played a little Monster Hunter. The game I actually liked more, and I'm probably gonna get some hate from this. Dauntless. To me, it was more my speed. And once I had Dauntless, I couldn't go back to Monster Hunter, at least for me. And Monster Hunter is a fantastic game. The depth behind it for all your gear creation and end game content was much better than Dauntless. So I'm gonna say that. But I didn't play these games for a long time. So there's definitely room with only, technically one big player being Monster Hunter. Much like Dark Souls, bring some more competitors, bring some freshness into the genre. Somebody try something different. And so far from what I've seen from Wild Hearts, it looks pretty good. But that's all we can say so far.
Yeah, man.
We do. Yep. Let's go there. You're right, Moko. CVG Pi. I'm trying my best here. Welcome to the stage. Hit us with a topic. How you doing tonight?
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
Yeah. I'm sorry if this is not the right place to ask, but will Just Dance games come to Xcloud?
Chess games. Did I hear that right?
Just Dance. Yeah, because Stadia is apparently shutting down soon, and it is currently my way to play Just Dance without a console.
Nope.
So I'm
Just Dance.
Yeah,
Just
sorry, I was
Dance.
trying to
Okay, I
figure
thought you said justice about 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, what is the justice? of these games?
First of all,
So
no.
we apologize.
No fault to
I
you.
thought you said
yeah.
just ass. I was like, that. This isn't extra.
Oh yeah,
That's all
that
I
was the
saying.
other guess.
We were all kind of staring at each other, trying to get it. But first of all, this is a great place to ask that question. And we were gonna get into this topic a little bit early or later, and we should probably do it now. Obviously not direct Xbox news, but big industry news. They're calling it quits over there at Project Stadia. And it's kind of sad in a way. Even as a huge fan of Xbox, I want to see competitors. I want to see people pushing them, right? And
honestly, their controller is actually quite good.
yeah, I've heard really good things about it.
Do you play on Stadia, CB?
Yeah, I play it on pretty much everywhere because.
How do you find it? How do you find the it's a streaming only console? How do you find the experience?
Well, I find the experience pretty great, even on my high jitter Shaw Wi-Fi.
Right.
My modem uses Intel Puma 6, I think, which they apparently recalled because it had a high lag and jitter. But its experience is still overall great, and its controller is pretty great too. For some, and it's actually kind of sad that they left. I hope they would have introduced some more games, or at least survive until I could play Just Dance 2023.
So Just Dance. Never having really played that myself. I'm not really a physical person.
With family and friends, and being a cheap ass gamer, I find buying console too expensive. And
I love it.
Do you need a peripheral for Just Dance? Do you need a peripheral for Just Dance, or do you play with the controller? Do you need to put like a mat on the floor?
Yeah, I think you can play Just Dance with a smartphone. They used to have PlayStation Move and Kinect support, which also rest in peace.
I remember Kinect was great. that was a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Kinect should never have died. That's my opinion.
So
it's amazing.
You bring some good topics to us tonight, and first of all, I'm going to say this: I don't know if Just Dance is going to come to XCloud or Game Pass. It is not currently available, as far as I know. But what we are looking at here is kind of like we said, this is industry impacting. So I personally think that XCloud and Game Pass, they offer quite a bit of value. If you are a cheap ass gamer, I'm not.
Yeah, I know. I'm already subscribed to a 3-year plan prepaid.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think obviously you're going to need some equipment to run Game Pass, but it can be very.
I already have all the controllers and stuff.
Oh, perfect.
And yeah, well, I actually kind of hope that they would someday port the Game Pass app to TVs and stuff.
They are.
Because-
That is confirmed.
It's
It's
coming.
something that's in the works currently with Samsung sets, I believe, if I have that right. We're
Yeah.
getting there. There will probably be a stick before too long. I know that you can play on just about anything. You know, phones, tablets, computers, and
Yeah.
What
And
was the project called, Jay? What was you had a code name for that stick, for the USB stick?
lock Keystone.
Project
Keystone.
Keystone. Yeah, so you're gonna be able to stick a Fire Stick in the back of your TV soon. and it's
yeah,
gonna
and
be
will that
Game
stick
Pass.
kind of have like streaming abilities?
Yeah.
It's
It's gonna be like the
supposedly-
Stadia. It's gonna be like Stadia.
Yeah, I currently use a Chromecast with Google TV for Stadia. Yeah, it's kind of sad that they're phasing it out.
No, I like I said, I'm disappointed as an Xbox user just because I'd like to see the competition out there. I'd like to
Yeah,
see these companies
same.
pushing each other. I also respect that a lot of people enjoyed Stadia and were having a good time on the platform. It's unfortunate that it is no longer. This happens sometimes in tech. I will forever mourn Windows Phone and Mixer on the Microsoft sides of things, and sometimes
Yeah.
a product or service you love just doesn't pan out for whatever reason. So,
Yeah.
I do. Do you think that is that where you're headed? Is you're going to try XCloud for a little while and see if that's a good enough service
Yeah,
to kind of supplant it?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of cloud gaming because it does have the advantage that you can play it pretty much anywhere. And if I want to play at school, I don't have to bring a whole ass console and monitor. Instead, I can just
No.
bring a laptop.
Well, do you currently have Game Pass on your phone currently, or your tablet?
Yeah, of course.
do?
Yeah, I can tell you
That's
about
good.
hauling monitors and consoles around back in the day before we had all these wonderful technological advances that allow us to just bring our phone and a controller
Yeah.
and play anywhere. So, yeah, that's great. And if you ever see us on again and you want to come back and update us about how you're enjoying and transitioning to XCloud and that stuff, and if it's filling the void for you,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear it. I will say that personally, I was a skeptic of cloud gaming before this generation, and I've been doing a lot of cloud gaming lately, either
Yeah.
console streaming or streaming from xCloud, which often works better than streaming from my own house. I don't know how they do it, and the lag is getting almost where I don't notice it in most games. It's really impressive. So,
Yeah.
I-
Really though, it's kind of just because it's cheap and it
Hey,
kind of helped me get through the graphic card / console shortage.
yeah, no, it's
Well,
great.
at least they're refunding people for the games and DLCs.
Yes, that's terrific.
Which they didn't actually have to do.
No,
No. See, I was always desperate for an Xbox handheld, where I had a PSP, and I was why are they not doing it? Why are they not releasing an Xbox handheld? But this strategy sort of usurps all of that, doesn't it?
yeah. Well, I mean, I try to think back to being like 16 years old and having to go to dad or mom and being like, boy, I need a new console. And boy, I need these games, and boy, I'm gonna need a controller, and that was a tough sell sometimes. But in the same boat now, you could just be like, boy, I need Game Pass and a controller, and you can play a ton of games, a lot of them with your friends. So this is, I think CVG Pie here is he's who's Microsoft is looking at. This is the future of gaming to them. It just more accessibility, good value. These are things that we hear over and over with the Microsoft and Xbox brand this generation.
I just think
Agreed.
Google's approach was the wrong one. Because cloud gaming is a very, a few years ago, was a very unproven platform. Everyone was kind of making fun of it. Everyone was saying it wasn't going to work. And it kind of found its home in some spots. There's people who used it through Google. There's people who use it through Xbox. The problem was with Google is they were kind of doomed to fail from the start when they set the platform up, and then right off the bat they said that they were going to stop first party development, meaning that nothing was really going to pull anybody over to their platform. While it was a cloud gaming service and that still appealed to some people, the way Xbox has gone about it, putting all their games on console as well as cloud and letting people try that, giving people the option that most users still want, which is through a console or through PC, while also going, hey, we have this cloud thing, you should try it out. And more people, like yourself, Foreman, are like, yeah, this is actually really cool. Whereas you would have probably never signed up for Google Stadia just going,
No.
oh yeah, I really want to get into cloud
Not in
gaming
a million
without
years.
trying it.
And it wasn't an overnight process either.
RS Games in the chat says that Just Dance should have a general website access, and it's also available on Luna.
Oh,
Something
I forget, that's Amazon, I believe. You're right, though.
yeah.
I would have never tried
Luna.
streaming if it wasn't a supplemental service to Game Pass and what I already have. I definitely would have been on the fence for a lot longer and not embraced the technology. And it wasn't an overnight win. It wasn't like, whoa, this is awesome when I first got it. It was like, I'm going to try this out. That was kind of okay. I'm going to try this out. I learned the limitations of it. And I learn what I can do and what I can't. And then I start finding the stuff that I can do and that I can enjoy. And I played Terraria for 3 hours last night on my laptop, streaming from Xcloud. No problem. And barely any lag.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
There was an article on Forbes this week saying about 5G. It streams flawlessly over 5G if you've got a strong 5G.
Yep, Wi-Fi 6, 5G. I haven't tried it over cellular, actually. That's
I actually think that 4G and current Wi-Fi 5 are already pretty good for normal game streaming. And yeah.
Well, let me ask you: do you play on a mobile connection ever, or are you on a home Wi-Fi network when you're streaming?
I usually play on a home network because data is super expensive here in Canada.
Oh, understood. Nope.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Yeah, I think it's like $10 a gig at the minimum. And then, if you use one of the bigger networks, they charge more. I think about 5 cents per megabyte.
Right, my lord.
Wow.
You are like
it's expensive.
Wait,
And so that's why I always play. But cloud gaming, whether on Xcloud and Stadia, it actually pretty worked out for me at my home network and my pretty crappy school network.
Well, it worked on a crappy school network, so that's the endorsement we're giving it tonight. And
yeah,
it's also worth noting that if your connection isn't great, you can always go down to a turn-based game. You can slow the game down a little bit.
That's one of the problems I used to experience with Xcloud, is that when I'm on a crappier network, like my school network or a public hotspot, it becomes kind of spotty for some reason. Yeah. Is that more of a no Canada server issue, or is that more of a compression issue?
Personally, my experience, I live in the Midwest, in the Michigan area. Chicago or Detroit are usually our data centers. I've had really great connections, so it could be a network situation. It could be your distance from their nearest data center, their nearest servers for Xcloud.
I think it's only in the U.S. Yeah, I think they only have data center in U.S. and not Canada.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I am not privy to. I don't know where they're putting all their services at. I know that they are expanding it constantly. So, and it's also the backbone is Azure and Microsoft's server network. So it's an amazing network.
As of now, Phil Harrison has killed PS3, Xbox One, and Stadia.
I said this the moment that the Stadia news dropped, before Phil Harrison was even brought up, because I remember him killing Xbox.
Didn't he do something at Atari as well?
Or Luna, or just any other platform, then I guess it completes the circle.
Yeah, unfortunately, the touch of death does appear to be a curse that he has been struck with.
Yeah. He needs to get Don Matrick out of the.
He's still employed.
He's still employed. He needs to get Don Matrick out of gaming. where he just disappears. Because I'm pretty sure Don Matrick also killed Zynga.
No, I want those guys to get together and start a new studio and see what kind of hell they can unleash upon us. But
Studio of Empty Promises.
that'd be
I
great.
think Don Matrick is also kind of killed every company he's been to.
Zynga,
Like, I think they are just that. Yeah, I think they're both kind of like, how do I describe this? Like a professional killer of the gaming industry.
Well, I think that's a very apt description if that's how you feel about it, and the evidence is out there that they do indeed not have the golden touch with at least their recent endeavors, and and there's you gotta, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, as they say, when you fail, then that's a bad track record.
I mean, I'm not entirely surprised because Google have a very big history of killing devices.
Yeah, they do.
They killed the Pixelbook lineup. They killed a bunch of other hardware and softwares.
They're a bit like Microsoft, who will throw something against the wall, and if it doesn't stick, they're not afraid to cut their losses and say, "Well, it didn't work. We'll try something different." So,
Microsoft also did a bunch of canceling a few years back, I think, or just a bunch of general renaming.
Phil Harris.
There's actually a website called Killed by Google, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I know that, and I just surfed there, and then I suddenly realized, oh shit, I didn't realize there are so many products that Google killed.
Yeah, Microsoft and Google both have the same track record. So thanks for coming up tonight, and this has been a really good conversation, and I'm glad that you kind of eased us into the whole Stadia thing, and you had a perspective as being a user over there, and how we're looking toward the future of gaming and the industry and how this is all going to work out. So if you ever do happen to catch us when you're browsing through Reddit on again, please come back and update us on how things are going for you, and so good to meet you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, you have a good night.
Thank you for the chance to speak with you guys, and goodbye.
Absolutely. Goodbye. Nice to meet you. What a cool guy and a cool perspective there. So I'm going to pump the brakes real quick, and I did want to mention we have a contest open right now for Let's Build a Zoo. And the downloadable content that comes with it. It's new on Game Pass today, so if you have Game Pass, you can already play it. I'm not sure if the Game Pass version includes the downloadable content. You'll have to look that up. But I'm mentioning this now because the contest is still open. We have maybe 80 entries. We have 3 copies to give away, and I'm going to do the draw at the end of the show. So if you want to sneak over to the subreddit and throw your comment down on there, you have a good chance of winning a $40 game. Not a bad value. So we have 3 of them to give away. So this is just kind of a last call. If you want to win Let's Build a Zoo, jump on over there. And if you've played Let's Build a Zoo, raise your hand and come on up and tell us about that, because I am really curious about that game.
That Killed by Google site is unbelievable.
Oh my god,
there's like over 100 things.
I'm just got my finger on the down key, and it's just infinite scroll. It's just going and going and going and going.
Well, and it's not. Sometimes they buy things, and it's very Microsoft too, and they're just like, well, we don't like you anymore, and they just like kill it. And it's like sometimes it's something you love, So moving on. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go.
No, you go. No.
I was going to say somebody's already updated it to say Stadia, and it only got announced like 3 hours ago or something.
I didn't even know they're killing YouTube originals. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh wow, isn't that like that Cobra Kai and that kind of stuff, right?
It would have been. Netflix picked it up, thankfully.
Oh, okay.
That's where it started. Cobra Kai wouldn't have got its start without YouTube originals.
Yeah, that's where I remember it, because they kept trying to sell me YouTube Premium, and 2 years later, I can't live without YouTube Premium, so I guess they won in the end.
Yeah, that's the one subscription I will never let go, I don't think.
Let's talk a little bit of Overwatch 2 here and kind of move in that direction. Yeah. And I just wanted to do a couple quick updates. The first one was the headline is Overwatch 2 asks new players to unlock characters over 100 matches, so which basically means that not everything's going to be available to you right away. You're going to have to play and learn as you go. I find this a really good system for these kinds of games, hero shooters, MOBAs, because each character is so different. It gives you time to learn their skill set, and it's not just like overwhelming where everything is thrown at you at once. But we have a lot of backlash, not just for that, but for some other reasons this week too. So I think Anthony was kind of cluing me in on this earlier. Do you want to fill us in on the Overwatch 2 controversy?
Basically, yesterday, or 2 days ago, so it's released on October the 4th. There's 2 days downtime where there's no Overwatch. You can play before that. They're killing Overwatch 1 2 days before. But to play Overwatch 2, you have to link a mobile phone to your Blizzard account to even launch the game. And they're saying that it's to basically counter toxicity and toxic players and Smurf accounts, because it's one mobile, one account. So there's been a bit of backlash about that this week in our sub and across the net, because people say that you have multiple accounts, but they're not, not for nefarious reasons. They run different accounts, different consoles. They're sort of merging everything together like Destiny did, because you could cross play and that kind of stuff. But yeah, the mobile phone thing's a big deal for a lot of people for some reason. I linked mine yesterday in preparation, but I just have one account, so it's not a big deal to me.
Here's the problem with that. I can go out and get a free phone number right now easily, so it does nothing but gives me an extra step. It doesn't stop me from creating a new account to use cheats or hacks on it, because I know this because it didn't stop anybody in CS:GO. And they try to implement that feature, and they even try to implement it at higher ranked features. It doesn't work. It's a good idea, but if people want to hack in a game, that's not going to stop them. So another reason why people don't like that system.
Now, just at face value, I'm all for it. But you mentioned that it's pretty much it doesn't matter because you can just sidestep it. But I like seeing accountability, and I know a lot of gamers don't like this stance, but. I'm for tying like some kind of identifying information, which is also a big red flag for a lot of users, but to these game accounts online. If you're gonna be playing something serious, if it's gonna help counteract bad play, toxic users and that kind of stuff, then I can get behind it. That's a game that I want to personally play, but it's obviously going to turn away a lot of the audience as well, so it's a double-edged sword. And if it's ineffective in the end, then it's really you're shooting yourself in the foot for no reason, really. So it's kind of, I guess we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I am excited for Overwatch 2. I can't wait to actually check that out, especially since we're going the free-to-play route this time.
Yeah, they're saying Blizzard is saying they're not going to recognize prepaid or VoIP numbers.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just looking at the statement they've put out. They're pitching it basically as it's part of this merging process. It says the requirement to link your mobile phone number. Just looking for it now. It's to do with dealing with toxicity in Smurf accounts, but also to do with the fact they're merging. But people have multiple accounts now in Overwatch 1 that they have purchases made on, but you can only, you can't bring the multiple accounts together. It's in that way. It's just multiple console accounts on one tag.
Yeah, like there's not a merge account type thing they can pull off, and I understand that. Same thing for MOBAs and Heroes of the Storm, another Blizzard game. Actually, they do want to prevent some of that stuff. It's just kind of a mess. I can see both sides of the fence here. I really can. Like at one point, I'm like, boy, I'd love the idea of counteracting cheaters and all the negativity out there, but also I don't like preventing people from playing a game they might love. There's reasons out there for having multiple accounts that I can't even conceive, and I'm sure many of them are very valid. So it'd be interesting to see how they walk that tightrope moving into launch here, which is October 4th, I believe.
Yeah,
that's when the preload starts. I'm sorry.
Sorry, yeah, it says that it's about bad actors, and it says that if they ban someone, saying they're trying to actively, find anomalous gameplay with standout gameplay behavior and cheaters. If they ban an account and that person is immediately able to just rejoin with a new account, then all the detection in the world won't stop us from keeping bad actors out of the game. We need to make the cost for being willing to cheat higher for those players. So losing their account is much more of a significant penalty than it was in Overwatch 1 by using this mobile phone number.
Very draconian. Like I said, I'm for it, but I know why many people aren't.
I will just say this: it's knowing of that world. Because we've talked about on this show Cronus and Zim and all that, and I know about PC stuff as well. There are cheap hardware ID spoofers, because that's another thing that they have tried to attack on PC is they ban hardware ID numbers. You can reset them, you can have a spoofer so that when you do get banned, it bans the wrong hardware ID. And the same things
But do you
exist
feel
for phone numbers for botting, because I've done botting for buying items before, because I was trying to get an item that was always sold out during the pandemic. So
right?
I used a bot service, and in that you could also get unlimited free phone numbers for $5.
What?
So this is not really gonna it's not really gonna stop people, because people are already 2 steps ahead on how
Well,
crummy they are out there today.
And this is why you keep
But
getting calls about your car's warranty, because you're right. You can just buy 100 phone numbers and keep using them until they shut them down, and you know that kind of stuff is. I always like to turn to you on this stuff because you are very well versed in what's going on in the PC scene, which is where a lot of this stuff originates. And if it's happening in gaming, it's happening on PC first. I can admit that as a console purist. And yeah, so like when we hear like about aim hacks, you were explaining many things that made it a lot more clear for me. Just learning about how some of the stuff works, and so when I hear you saying how easy this is to get around, I am inclined to believe you.
you're saying it's easy to get around, but making someone jump through so many hoops to just play a game, does it not wear people down, put these people off? You know, just
Actually, it's gotten worse.
it just seems to me like if I was doing that, I just couldn't be bothered to going through that process. Like, what, acquiring phone numbers and setting it's just
I mean,
so much hassle.
maybe they like the
But
challenge.
For what? They're
From
just
what
gonna
I've
get banned.
witnessed, these people almost view it as a challenge. And let me come forward and say that when I used botting services to get my first video card, when I was trying to get by my 3080 during the pandemic and they were sold out instantly because of botters, my philosophy then was, you know what? Can't beat them. I'm just gonna write my own. So I wrote my own script to go through Micro Center at the time, which is a local area, and I got a card that way. And I helped a few friends out that way as well. So please don't berate me with, but through all that, you come across all these sites when you're just trying to research how to write a simple script, and you come through stuff that and you find out that there are rotating IP services, rotating phone number services, all for $5 to $10 a month. And these are cheap. And they're all bundled in with all these other systems. So as soon as someone gets told that, here's the problem: as soon as someone gets told that you need a phone number to do Overwatch stuff, if someone's selling Overwatch cheats or something like that, they will also provide the phone number service bundled in with that. So it's not like
Right.
they even have to buy an extra thing. It'll be there. And then you can buy the hardware spoofer with it. All of that's there and included with the services that they're giving. It's the cheap manufacturers that are ahead of the developers, and people are just buying a product. They make it too easy. So, and it sucks, because in reality, I don't know if we'll ever get ahead of cheaters, because of the access that PC users have. Your best bet, if you never want to run into cheaters, and generally they're in higher gameplay areas, so if you're a more casual player and you're not doing rank stuff, you probably won't come across them, is to turn off crossplay. I hate to say that
Right.
that's the solution, but cheaters are here, and it's hard to combat them.
I just turned off
So
crossplay on Halo Infinite.